What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 4 moves at the top of the route that DBs cannot guard. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you would like a daily on-field route running, press release, catching training schedule to follow, all the wide receiver drills that you need to be doing mapped out with the exact sets and reps to do, exercises to do on each specific day, everything, fellas, check out that very first link in the description below for our 4-week wide receiver on-field training schedule. Guys, it's over 100 plus drills. We give video examples of each drills, everything that you need to do this summer to get better. So again, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. All right, guys, so how this video is going to work is I'm going to be kind of breaking down a move that you can use at the top of the break, the situation you would use it in, the technique behind it, and then I'm going to show you this move full speed. So the first move that we're going to go over today is something called a rocker step. So a rocker step is something that you can use. I personally only like it on 4 specific routes. I like it on posts, I like it on corners, I like it on like 10-yard out routes, and then I like it on digs. So those 4 routes, anything shorter than that, I wouldn't really consider a rocker step. It's more of like a crossover, if you will. But those are the 4 routes that we can use. Now, situation-wise, you can use this rocker step against zone coverage when they're off man, or you could use it in press when you have the DB stacked. So stacked means when you have him over, like trailing your back hip, you're stacked over the top, you're giving him a move to create some space. So a rocker step, how you don't get confused on this, is you want to step in the direction you are going first. So like, let's say for example, I have to run a post route, right? So if I got to run a post and I'm on the right side, quarterback's over here, obviously I'm cutting to the inside, I would step with my left foot first at the break, selling like I'm going to the corner, and I would put the brakes on with my right foot and break back to this post. So it's essentially a 1-2 at the top of the break. Now, when I'm working this 1-2, obviously if it's off man coverage, where a DB's eye is supposed to be on a wide receiver? They're supposed to be watching our hips, right? So if this DB's looking at my hips and he sees me come up to this route and I just do this step and I keep everything still up here, he's not gonna bite on the fake. You almost wanna think of it like you were trying to turn your belly button to the sideline. That's something that I tell a lot of my wide receivers, and they've seen a lot of success with that because you want your upper body to be loose. So if I'm doing this rocker step at the break point and I'm running up here and I'm here, my body turns, but my toe doesn't open way up. My toe stays pointed forward in a strong position. I'm selling, get the DB to move, but also I get some explosion out of this thing. So a rocker step is a great move to use at the top of the route to get separation. I'm gonna show you how this is gonna look full speed. All right, guys, so this next move that we are going to be talking about is something called a vertical set. So you guys always ask me, I see all the comments, I read all the comments, and if you guys have any questions on any other moves that you guys can use at the top of the route, don't hesitate, leave those in the comments section. We always appreciate the feedback. That helps me come up with ideas for these videos. That's why we upload so much, because we get so many questions. So you guys really make the channel, so I appreciate it. Now, a vertical set is something you would use to run a fade route versus off man or zone coverage. So like, let's say for example, you have a DB, he's lined up, and let's say quarterback's to the inside here, the camera is the receiver, you got a DB who's facing you like this, but he's shaded a little bit to the outside, right? So it's tough to run a fade against that coverage. That's not usually the most ideal throw for a quarterback, not usually the most ideal route for a wide receiver. So what you would have to do is you would use a move called a vertical set. So a vertical set is very, very similar to the rocker step. That's why I wanted to show the rocker step first, so you guys could kind of understand this and get this down. So a vertical set is like, let's say for example, I'm running out and let's say DB's outside leverage, I close this space and I'm gonna give him a hard jab to the inside with my inside foot. So it's not a rocker step. If you wanna think about it like a rocker step, I guess that's not really wrong, but it's a hard inside step. We're trying to get this DB to crash down on the post so we could slip behind him and have some space to the outside. Because a lot of people, what they'll do when they have that DB who's lined up in zone coverage outside shade is they'll just try to run around it. But when he's outside shade in any type of coverage, even if it's press, even if it's off man, even if it's zone, his goal is to not give up the outside release. So he's gonna force you to the inside. He will widen with you and you'll be hugging the sideline. So you wanna attack him. Attack his front hip, you give that vertical set fake, sell him with your hips, belly button to the inside, hoping he crashes on the post, and then we slip behind him. So vertical set is a great move to get you open. I only like this on zone coverage, off man situations, and you have to run a fade. I'm gonna show you how this is gonna look full speed. All All right, guys, so the next move that I want to talk about is not so much a move at the top of the route. It's kind of like a move mid-route that you would use to set you up for separation at the top of the route. So I call this a hesitation skip. Some people would refer to this as maybe a tempo change, but I think there's a specific technique to it, which is why I would call it a hesitation skip. So, like, let's say, for example, you have inside shade coverage and you have to go run a fade, right? So like, let's say he's inside shade off maybe like 5 yards, right? So what do we want to do when he's inside leverage and you have to run a fade? You don't want to run away from him, right? You want to attack him, maybe give him a move, and then slip out to the outside, hoping he moves to the inside. Now, if he's disciplined, he's going to try to keep some space with you when you attack him, right? So he has an easier recovery angle and can cut you off on that fade. So what you could probably do is change up the tempo on your stem, slow yourself down, hesitate a little bit to get him to stop so we can get a step on him when we accelerate. So this hesitation skip. So like, let's say, for example, I'm doing this move on like my second inside step. So what it would be is I come off the ball one, that's my first inside, then on my second inside step, that's where the hesitation starts. It's almost like a double step and then go. So it would be like right, left, then accelerate. So that little hop, the double step on the left foot, you could do this on the right foot as well, kind of gets that DB's feet to stop, he hesitates, and that could set us up for separation. Now, again, this is not just for a fade. You could use this on a lot of other things. So like, let's say, for example, DB's inside shade off man, and let's say, how do we get separation if we have to run a post? You attack his outside shoulder, you try to make him think fade, and then you slip underneath. Our goal is to get him to flip his hips, kind of like that diamond release off the line of scrimmage against press. So if I go at this guy, and maybe I pair that hesitation hop with it, I come at him, I get that little hop, and then I accelerate, and then I slip underneath, or maybe I accelerate and I run a comeback. There are many different moves that you can use off of this skip. So I'm gonna show you how this is gonna look full speed to give you a better idea of it. Remember, it's a double hop. You come off the ball, it's like, let's say you do it on your first inside step. You step right, left, then we accelerate up into the route. All right, guys, so the next move that we're going to be talking about at the top of the route that you can use is something called a peek back move. So a peek back move, I only like it usually on like an outside breaking route, so like an out route. I've seen people use it on a route like a dig or maybe a post. I think it's a little bit overly complicated to do that, and I don't know necessarily the best situation for that timing wise for the quarterback, but I've seen it been used before. But I like it on an out route, a comeback, a stop, maybe a quick hitch, if you will. Sometimes people will use it like on like a diamond release to sell like they're getting a fade, but mainly on outside breaking route. So what a peek back is exactly how it sounds. Like, let's say you got a DB inside shade, give him a move, you take this outside release and you're peeking over your inside shoulder to try to make him think that you're running a fade ball. This ball's being thrown over your shoulder, and then you put the brakes on and settle this thing right down. I'm going to show you a full speed example of this in a second as well, but it's just another way for you to sell fade, because on every single route, whether you're running a 5-yard hitch, 15-yard comeback, you need to make the DB think you're running a fade. So you have to run with speed, stride, and good body language. That's what sells it. So the eyes are just like an added element to the body language. Now, the two mistakes that guys will make on the peek back move is that they will run and they will peek back, but when they peek, their chest raises up, and that's going to slow you down. And a DB isn't supposed to be looking at your eyes anyways. He's supposed to be watching your hips and your body language. So when you peek back and you lean and you slow yourself down, all that does is going to slow the DB down, and that move is for nothing, okay? So it's got to be just a glance. You want to think of it like it's just a little glance over your shoulder. Think of it like you're chasing a deep ball. You're not turning to catch a deep ball. You're chasing a deep ball. So it's a little glance over the shoulder and maintain a good pad level. Now, the other mistake guys will make is that they'll come off the ball and they will peek back, but they'll do it at the last second. So let's say the break's at 10 yards, at like 8 yards, they peek back and then they cut. That's not enough to get a DB. You have to hold your eyes there for like 2 to 3 steps to get that DB to think fade so we could separate to the outside. So I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. I love this against inside shade press when you have to run an outside breaking route to sell a vertical. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like 100+ wide receiver drills all mapped out into a 4-week-long schedule for you guys to do, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.